Second rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about...
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
English, mother...
Body, you ain't got no job, and you ain't got shit to do.
Let's put a smile on that face.
What's up, film family, and welcome to the Film Room Podcast. My name's Dion.
My name is Scott.
And today we're talking about the new Francis Ford Coppola movie, Megalopolis. And you may know him from the Godfather trilogy or Apocalypse Now. Those are only movies I've seen. I don't know if you've seen any of his other films, Scott, or if you've even seen those ones.
No, this is again. I had to make another confession on this one. This is my first Francis Ford Coppola movie. I know it's really The Godfathers, and they're on my list. I got a long list of movies. Let me tell you, but they're on my list. Apocalypse Now, like you said, I heard a lot about that, and the Dracula movie. That was the other one that. Yeah, those are the I guess because the first two Godfathers, and then those two. That's where he got all his awards and all the love.
Oh, for sure.
But I haven't seen any of them.
Just like you told me with the Lord of the Rings. Don't go for the extended version of Apocalypse Now. It's just watch the regular one.
I didn't even know there was one.
I didn't either. That the funny thing is the first time I watched Apocalypse Now, I watched the extended version. I was like, this movie's good, but it's running a little long here. And then I realized it's the extended version. I think it touched over 3 hours, and to me, it was there was parts in it where I was like, did this really? There was just conversations. There's extra conversations where I was like, okay, that was kind of like. They didn't really have anything to do with anything. And I realized later on that is the extended cut. And they're like, oh, yeah, majority of that conversation wasn't in there. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah,
and like you mentioned the Lord of the Rings, and I watched the extended editions semi-recently, and I've seen the theatricals as well. And like there's good parts and bad parts, I guess. You know, there's some stuff where you're like, yeah, I'm glad that I got a little more explanation here. But also some stuff I'm like, yeah, I'm glad this got cut. You know what I mean? Like, exactly. I understand why they cut this.
Yeah. And first, if you already know you're going to wrap yourself into it, I'm like, you know what? I'm blocking off these 3 hours. I'm watching it, whatever. Go for it. But if you're like, I don't need to watch like all that. And then maybe see if I like it first before I go right into the extended.
Right.
Because maybe you won't like it.
And there's normally a reason why they cut that stuff. And like the theatrical version, like there's a reason why they make it a little bit shorter. And like, and then if you really like it and you're like, oh, I want to, learn more about different characters or explore more of this or just see what else there is, watch the extended. But yeah,
exactly. But Scott, guess what? I mean, you already know. I don't know why I'm saying guess what. But this is guess what for the listeners. But just play along.
Okay. What happened?
Before we get into our thoughts about how we thought about the film, we got our first 5-star review.
Let's go.
And
let's go.
We were always saying that we're going to read it on the show if it ever happens. So I'm going to take it away, Scott. I got the review right here. So nothing but I guess there's like a little caption thing. It just says nothing but positive things. Absolutely love the podcast. Dion and Scott are always so fun to listen to. Their love for film really shines through in such a charismatic, funny, and relatable way. Love the pod.
Hey, that's sick, man.
Yeah, shout out Kobe X98.
Kobe X98. Hey, appreciate that, bro. That's lit. Appreciate that.
Yeah, much respect. I mean, any feedback we can get, we always appreciate it. And you can give us a 5-star review, like we said, we're gonna read on the pod. So 100%. Thank you.
Hey, we said we were gonna do it, so I had to do it.
Exactly. And Scott, you know what that deserves. So hit him with it. Thank you, Kobe. Now you're a certified member of this Hollywood homies movie.
Yeah, we keep saying, man, we come in and we say, "What's up, film family?" We say, "Movie mafia," Hollywood homies. We gotta decide. We gotta choose one. Exactly. We gotta let the listeners decide. What do you guys think you should be called as listeners?
And let us know.
Yeah,
honestly,
100%.
Let us know.
Or if you have a different idea.
Yeah,
if those
we're open to anything. We're not attached to anything. We're always goofing around and throwing the different ones.
Exactly.
We laugh and be like, "Was that good?" I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Just have fun with it. Hey, but I appreciate the review. Like seriously, like that's awesome. I mean,
no, 100%.
When we just started this, like we're just having fun with it, and if people listen and enjoy it, that's awesome. But I appreciate that. That's dope.
Yeah, it's that extra little thing because there's so many like podcasts or like. There's so many things like if it's podcast or like YouTube videos or whatever, you may follow them or listen to them all the time, but never leave a review. It doesn't mean you don't like them. It just means it's just that extra step that most people are just like, whatever. Like, I don't really feel like they're in a review. So if you do it, you go in that extra step, appreciate it. honestly.
100%.
Yeah. But now that I've bumped you up, Kobe, I gotta bury you a little bit because you opened up some childhood trauma for me because you spelled my name wrong. You spelled you spelled my name. My name's Deion, but you spelled it Dieon. And the kids when I was little used to call me Dion, and they used to make jokes actually? About they did.
Damn.
Yeah.
To be fair, that's probably like a typo. You know,
it
like
probably
I feel
is
like
a typo.
Like I feel like a lot of like you would obviously know, but I feel like you probably got DYON or DION
or just
like
all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
So I had to mention it though, just so. But now I mentioned that. Now I know maybe someone's listening, but like, I'm gonna leave a review. I'm gonna spell his name wrong again, just to spite me. Which I'm okay. Hey, if you leave a review, you can spite. You can leave spite reviews as long as they're 5 stars. It's all good. But all jokes aside, much love, Kobe. Appreciate it. Appreciate the review.
Yeah, definitely.
But now, with that being said, Scott, what was your thoughts on Megalopolis? You saw it before me, I think, because I literally just saw it last night. So,
okay, yeah, I saw it on Thursday. So I've already, I guess, forgotten some. I have an absolutely horrible memory. I mean, there's a reason I take notes, but like my memory stinks, so it'll be fresh. But it was a movie. I didn't love it, honestly, and I don't know if it was. Like I said, I've never seen any of Francis Ford Coppola's movies. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure they're not all kind of like this, but like this one, he wrote, directed, produced. Like this is all him, and I don't think he's a great writer. Like I think the plot was kind of all over the place. That was my biggest beef with it.
Mm-hmm. And that I'm glad that we share a similar opinion on the movie, and it's kind of. I mean, it doesn't take anything away because I don't think you're going to be like, you know what? I'm not going to watch The Godfather and Apocalypse Now.
No,
now, exactly. You're still going to watch those movies. But yeah, your point is like what you mentioned is a lot of, not a lot, is part of the notes that I had where I was like, he directed, he wrote and produced. And that's not always the best thing. You know what I mean? Sometimes it can help to have that, the extra writer or maybe not the director because his directing's fine, but it's more so the producer to also be like, hey, maybe we should cut this thing out. You know what I mean? There's probably no director's cut for this movie. He probably left everything in there that he wanted to put in there because it looked like every single idea he had, he put in there.
It's all in there.
Everything's in there. There's no one told him because I know that he had like this whole event where he had like other directors come in, but something tells me they were just yes men friends. You know what I mean? I don't know how much they actually told him. Nah, because man's old too. Like I don't know. You're just gonna tell him. Hey, you're a legend. What am I going to say to you?
Exactly. Yeah.
Most directors that are either the younger than him or like probably looked up to him because he's one of the OGs. His Godfather came out like we're over 50 years ago.
Yeah, and I mean this movie too. He's wanted to make since like the 70s. Like when he was filming Apocalypse Now, Lawrence Fishburne was saying during the filming of that movie, he was talking about making Megalopolis, which is wild.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Like I saw one of the notes that he's like, I wanted to produce myself. I didn't want any producers telling me not to do this, not to do that. And I was like, maybe you should have had someone tell you, maybe to give you that second opinion. But like, the plot was kind of all over. There was not like he didn't explain. There was a lot that went unexplained.
Yeah,
and I don't always hate that. Sometimes it's really good, if you have something you want the audience to decipher on their own, or you leave stuff up for interpretation, which is fine.
Yeah,
but you got to give me something, dude. Like there's time skips in this that like,
oh yeah,
where are we in the story? And we'll talk about it as we get to the points. Like when I'll give the examples of the specific problems I had, but like there was a whole lot that I just did not understand. I don't know if maybe it was just me, but I'm excited to hear what you think too.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And like we'll get into this right into it before I say the last thing of like, I feel like, because I know there was a lot of ties. Like I saw a little bit of an interview with him. I stopped it because I started watching the interview before I saw the movie. And one of the guys that was interviewing was like, oh, in this movie, I was like, okay, like at this part of the movie, I was like, okay, he's going to spoil it. So I left. But from the small part I did see, he was talking about how he was using a lot of stuff from like ancient Rome, like history and stuff like that. And I'm not a huge history buff like that. So maybe there was some subtle like history nods that people know of. They'll be like, oh, that's like a nod to this thing in history. They probably just went right over my head.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I noticed that too with like, especially with the names. Like
yeah, exactly.
Caesar, Cicero. Exactly. Like I know I know of those names, and I know very vaguely about like the whole Caesar story, like in ancient Rome, like you
Yeah.
said. I'm not a history buff either, but like I read that the major his idea basically for the movie was to take ancient Rome and that culture and set it in modern day New York.
Mm-hmm.
And that was basically the whole idea of the movie, and that's what he did.
Yeah.
And I think that aspect's like that's a really cool idea. I just think the execution wasn't there.
Yeah. No, and that's 100% fair. But like as we were saying, let's get right into it. So
Let's do it.
I kind of broke it down into the acts. Like I had the acts kind of as like the whole first part is everything. Like the first act I'd say was like leading up until he gets put in prison. And then
Okay.
I'd say like post prison is the second act. And then the whole shooting thing, that's like the last act. So to start off, we get the opening scene of him like on like a roof or whatever, and he freezes time. So the first thing we see him like freeze time, and right off the bat, I have the question: did he actually have superpowers? Is this kind of like a playing metaphor throughout the movie that?
No, I think he could actually do this,
Okay.
but I was also confused by this, and I think that basically the megalon, like the element or the building material that he invents,
Mm-hmm.
is what gives him this power. But this
Okay.
is one of the things, like right off the bat, like you said, they don't explain this at all. And
Mm-hmm.
then when he uses it later on, and then Julia can, like,
See.
she's not frozen. I'm like, how
Yeah.
does she also have this power?
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, it confused me 100%. I don't blame you for not knowing.
Yeah, because that's why when he first did it, I was like, okay, I guess he's got powers. And then when she like saw it, I wasn't sure if in that moment I was like, oh, is this like a thing of like if you have like the artist eye, you can
Mm.
freeze time, and you have a different view of the like. I don't know if it was like some kind of like metaphor thing like that. That's why I was confused. And then it goes throughout the movie, and then he's where there's like he's using his powers and stuff. So like the whole time I was kind of like back and forth of like, is this actually happening or not? But
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of weird too because he never really uses it for anything meaningful. Like he
yeah,
uses it when he blows up that building. He's like, "Wait, pause," and then everything stops, and then he says, "Okay, go ahead," and the building just keeps collapsing. Like nothing. It was just a way to flex that power and show us that somehow Julia also has the power, but
yeah.
there was no actual reason for him to do that. And like as the movie goes along, and there are times where maybe it is useful to use this power, he doesn't. So I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, I know. And that's the funny thing too. It's a good point you mentioned too. Like he doesn't use it for like like why did he do it then? Like the building was falling
There's
down and
no
he paused
reason.
it, and it's like even if you did you want to change your mind? It's too late. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he can't go back in
It's
time.
yeah, it's already crumbling down. So like why honestly why did he pause it in that moment? You
Yeah,
just wanted to see the halfway destruction.
I think it was just for us, like I said. So because
Yeah.
Julia notices it and she's like, "Whoa, he can pause time." So we're like, "Oh shit, she also has this power." But again, that never really comes back. So we're like, "Okay, she also has this power," but
Yeah.
we still don't know. Like I remember reading about kind of the rules of magic just in
Mhm.
general. Like when you're writing a story,
Yeah.
someone wrote an article about like kind of what makes a good magical power in
Yeah.
air quotes. And one of the biggest things is like there has to be defined parameters that you give to the audience, like what can this person do, what can't this person do, how does it work, so that as an audience member you're not just an outsider,
Mhm.
right? And they do not do this at all. And like we've only been talking negatively about them. There are some things I like,
No,
so we'll get into
100%.
that as well.
Yeah,
But
yeah, and like, I mean, we got to air our grievances off the bat. Like, I
yeah,
got a lot. There's certain acts of the movie that I really like too. I think the first act where they were kind of losing me, but then I think as the movie progressed, I started to like it more. So I don't want, yeah, I don't want people to think that like, no, we hated this
we're
movie or
just gonna shit
anything.
on it the whole
Yeah, we're just
time.
gonna
Yeah,
shit
yeah,
on the
yeah.
movie. It's just like, hey, it's not our favorite movie. I'd probably give this a second watch just because at least I know what I'm getting into and maybe I can catch something different. I don't know if I
Maybe.
would recommend people to watch this movie. That's another.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe,
Yeah. I
maybe.
like really I think just almost the whole time I'm just trying to figure out where we are in the
Yeah,
story, like what's going on. I mean, I guess they do a good job of establishing characters. Like I know who's who. There's a lot of
yeah,
characters. So
yeah.
that I think is something that the movie does well. I know who's who. I know what their relationships are with like intertwined with the other characters, kind of what their objectives are. And I mean, when they first start with the, like, it's a meeting or a press conference, I don't even know, when they're up in like the rafters, and then like everyone's talking, everyone's making all these presentations, and then as soon as he steps foot forward, everyone stops. I was like, yo, this guy's dripping an aura.
Yeah, no,
that was
hard too. And then he had like the cape over him, everything.
Yeah, that was fucking Batman.
Yeah. No, that was dope. Yeah, no, I liked what's it called? I like the way he carried himself throughout it. It was kind of funny. He had like this dry humor to him also too throughout the movie, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah, I wasn't sure going in if he was like just gonna be serious.
Yeah,
but you're right. Like there was some dry humor, like you mentioned. There was some stuff where he was, when he's taking drugs and drinking and stuff like that, and he's letting himself go. I'm like, okay, he's not just nose to the grindstone, like working architect. Like he's also got some layers to him. So I think the characters were actually pretty interesting in this movie overall. To be honest,
no, for sure. And you were talking about the whole connections thing, and part of me, like, I feel like I understood everyone's connect, like what everyone kind of wanted and how they connected within each other. But like, were Claudio and him actually cousins, or was it like a whole, like, you call it like, or he was just calling him his cousin?
No, I think they were cousins.
They're actual cousins?
Yeah, they never explained the connection, but I don't know why he would say, like, have beef with his cousin if that's not actually his cousin. Like, why would he say that's my cousin?
No, that's true. I just didn't know if it was like this weird, like, like someone's close. Oh, that's my cousin, or like, oh, that's Unc. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, like the black thing. Like, I didn't know if that was like a thing where he's just like, oh, yeah, that's my cousin. I was like, okay, I didn't. That's a good point. It didn't like haunt me throughout the movie, but it was something I was wondering. I was like, is he actually his cousin? Like, I don't know what this is, but is it? I guess it's not that serious.
But I think there's all the things that do go unexplained, so that maybe that is just one more thing that you were like, because there's a lot of weird shit that's going on, and like when I think I know what's going on, it changes. So for you to be like, maybe there's more meaning to this, or maybe it isn't real. I understand it. Like, one of the things that messed me up was they have that not opening, but it's like a freeze frame where and while Lawrence Fishburne is narrating, and they're saying, the year, he basically says modern time.
Yeah.
But then there's like Megalon, which is like a futuristic thing, but then they're driving in regular cars. But then all the cameras I noticed are like 50s cameras, like they have the giant flash. I was like, what time is this? What is going on?
Yeah, no, it's confusing. It's almost like he had the idea for this movie in the time, like when he was doing Apocalypse Now, and it was still kind of in that time. Like for whatever reason, like the way I look at this movie is like how I imagine like an 80s movie or like a late 70s movie kind of looking. Because it was just, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just the way he did certain camera things where it's like, oh, we're going to experiment with all these things because like we just got this new technology. You know what I mean? It felt like that kind of movie where it's like, hey, we just got digital cameras. Let's try doing all like that. This movie felt like, oh, I'm going to try all these new things we're in this new decade or wherever it is. I don't know why I got that feeling, but
I see what you mean.
Some of the things I like, some of the things I was like, okay. But the one thing that I thought was interesting too is just the fact that the whole like Palladium, like Wow Palladium, like that was her name. Like Aubrey Plaza, like her character.
Wow,
and
Caesar. Platinum. I think it's Platinum, no?
Is it Platinum? It was like Wow. On IMDb, I'm seeing Wow. Her first name is Wow, last name Platinum.
Yeah, Wow Platinum.
Yeah, Wow Platinum.
Yeah, you said like Palladium or some shit.
Oh, I did.
I thought you actually. Okay, we're good. Go ahead.
Okay, no, we're good. But yeah, yeah, the whole thing of like her hair being like his side piece, and like kind of saying that she was his mistress, but like his wife is dead, so how is she a mistress?
That's a good point. Yeah, I think it was more just like like under the radar. Like it wasn't an open, like a relationship that's open to the public.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like his wife's dead. It's not like he's cheating.
That's what I mean. Like it's like, and what is the reason for them to hide their relationship?
I think, well, because she even mentions it when we see them first at I think it's his house.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm supposed to be impartial, right? Mm-hmm. Like she's a journalist.
Yeah.
So, she's supposed to be impartial in like this, but they also like, was he running for mayor? Like he was just kind of talking about building this city.
Yeah.
And I guess he was kind of down talking Mayor Cicero, but they never made it clear that he was running for mayor. So like, I don't know if it was an election or even if in this alternate reality, if it's a democracy, I don't even know how that works. But I think, yeah, she mentioned like, I have to remain impartial. So I think that's kind of why it's not a public relationship.
Yeah, because that was the one thing I was trying to understand too, which like I'm still a little bit vague on, which is like what you were talking about. It's like, yeah, we clearly have our mayor, and throughout the movie, it's never like Caesar's like, I'm trying to be mayor, I'm trying to be mayor. He's just so focused on like, I'm gonna create this city. But it's
Yeah.
like, are you just trying to create the city as like an independent just person doing your own thing, like with no involvement of actual government or anything? Like it was just like he's like, I'm just building this city.
I mean, he gets approval, you know, like I said, when he builds up
Yeah.
or when he blows up that building, he's like, yeah, I got approval from the city, which is wild because all the people are like, you just blew up my house. I'm like, this guy blew up the people house, a building that people are living in. Like, it's not an empty building. I mean, that whole theme of like rich and poor,
Yeah.
I think it is really big in the movie. So like, I'm not mad at all about them doing
sure.
that. But I mean, it's cool because, like I mentioned, they're taking that culture of ancient Rome where it would be that, right? Like the rich and the powerful basically do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
And they just, all the peasants and like the poor people, you know, pay them taxes and they just get walked all over and they don't really care about them at all.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. And like you said, I feel like it made me feel like a little like not sideways, but I was kind of like thinking, I was like, is Caesar a good guy, like, or is he kind of someone just doing whatever he wants? Because like for them showing that, it's like, hey, these guys are just destroying our homes. I'm like, oh, is this guy mistaken or something, or is he actually kind of messed up a little bit? And as the movie progresses, you kind of see where his heart is. But at that point, I was like, oh wait, are we supposed to like this guy, or is he kind of just like a loose cannon doing his own thing?
I see what you're saying, but I kind of think that like almost every character is meant to be like a bad guy.
Yeah.
Like it's making fun of like the rich elite, like
yeah,
like you said, when leading up to him getting arrested, when they're at that big party and they're all doing crazy shit, like they're kissing each other's cousins, and like Shia, Claudio and his sister, like they're apparently fucking each other, and like
which is wild.
There's all this weird. They're all just really weird, and so I think it's kind of making fun of the rich and elite. Sure. So I think they're all meant to kind of be bad guys.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, that stuff was tripping me out because when they kept saying those things like sister, cousin, I was like, I really hope they're just throwing these terms around. I hope these things are true, but it turns out, yeah, a lot of them were actually sister. Cause I'm like,
that's probably why you didn't like you weren't sure if Caesar and Shia's character were actually cousins, because like all the other stuff you were trying to convince yourself like no they're not related, it's not real.
That's what I'm saying. Like I was just like, Marty McFly would have loved this times, yo. He'd be all over his mom, man.
Yeah, too bad they didn't go judgment. back to the future and into whatever this time is. I guess that machine only travels in time, not alternate realities, because I feel like this is meant to be an alternate reality.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because like we're saying, the whole time thing, but there is one scene though, like I actually did enjoy. Like there's multiple scenes I enjoyed, so I don't want to. Again, we were saying we're not even hating right now, but that's the scene where Julia like sees Caesar at his office, and
that's a good one.
He's showing, and they go into the kind of showing her the his designs, which is like nothing. But he's like, close your eyes and like walk through it, and then see what the world could be. Like I thought that was actually pretty cool, like the way that was shot and everything. Like I don't know how did you felt about their whole like interaction after she went to go see him.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they actually Nathalie Emmanuel and Adam Driver, I think they actually had a pretty good chemistry. I think they worked well together on screen. That was a good scene. That it confused me a little bit, like when she was, like you said, she was walking through, and it's just like it's like the bare bones, I guess, of what his city would be, because it's just like cones and tennis racket, like it's just junk kind of thrown together. And yeah, she closed her eyes and she's walking through it perfectly. So I was like, is this an extension of like her power, their power? Like how is she do, or is it just saying that his design of this city is perfect, so that even if you close your eyes and you just walk naturally, you'll fit in the city because the city is designed perfectly. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't sure kind of what that meant, but the scene was great. And like Lawrence Fishburne popping in and out, like she she pokes the lamp or something and turns it, and he just like pops in, fixes it, and pops back out. It was great.
Yeah, that was good. I even like that little slide thing too, where like he's like narrating and he's like, you know what? And then it goes to him in actual character. I like it.
Yeah. Kind of like I, Tonya.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, I like that
When we
little
did
slipping
that.
in and out. You got to use Lawrence Fishburne's voice. He's got an iconic voice. You got him in the movie. He's like a Freeman. If you can have him narrate something, just gotta have him do it.
100%. There's got to be some audio books with him or something, you know?
Oh, for sure, 100%.
There's got to be.
So we have that. This is actually one of the things I was talking about. Where I was talking about, we were talking about the whole blend of like the whole present and past thing. I'll give my opinions on it in a second. But when we had the whole like parade that went to the party and like they're in the Coliseum and everything, what was your feelings on like that on that whole like scene? If you had anything, I don't know if you had anything.
Not really. I mean, really. And actually, just before we go, that I have one note that I missed I wanted to mention about the last scene we were just talking about when Caesar and Julia are going back and forth, and he's saying, you know, oh, you're just a socialite. You go dancing, go to the club. Yeah. She's like, yeah, you know, maybe I'll go back to the club. But he's like, so go back to the club. Oh, yeah. And he's like dancing. That actually took
that
me
was
out.
good. Yeah, that was hilarious. The people like it was actually a decent crowd when I was in the. I went like it was like 6:30 on a Saturday. It was a decent crowd. So people were laughing at that one. That got a good laugh in the theater.
But yeah, the parade. I don't know. It kind of just showed the mayor's hate for him somewhere. Yeah. I feel like, you know, like he's walking through and he's like, oh, fuck this guy Caesar. Oh, you're working for him. How could you do that to me? And then when he like drives across the parade and the mayor has to wait for Caesar to pass. He's like, oh, I even got to wait for this guy. I fucking hate this guy. And then other than that, I was like, what? There's nothing here.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And to your point, like earlier you were mentioning about the whole like mix, that was like my thing with this movie where I was like, I really like the concept. Like, you know, I'm like this mix of like Rome, present, and the future. Like we don't really know what time period we're in, but it's like it's kind of cool in that concept. But like I feel like it could have been, that was my only gripe. I feel like it could have been done in a different way where it's like we could have been like, okay, we're doing the Rome thing, but we're also trying to make it present. But it was just like, it was confusing because like you said, where it's like the technology versus what people were wearing versus randomly there's like a Coliseum and stuff like that. And like we still have old buildings now. Like you go to Union at like in Toronto or whatever, it kind of looks still like that. We got the pillars and everything. But in this, it was just so much of like a mix of it. And I was kind of like, which is fine. It's supposed to be dystopian, but I'm trying to figure out like where are we actually grounded here?
Yeah. That's what I like. Like I mentioned, that confused me too because I thought we were in the future, especially with like Megalon, like what he invents or whatever, like all the shit that he builds with it. But then, like you mentioned, what the clothes that they're wearing and like the cars that they're driving are old school. So that did confuse me too. I mean, even the parade, like there's the live band and they're all dressed in classic clothes. I guess that one guy even gets pulled in and gets recruited to Shia. I keep saying Shia's character. His name's Claudio, but he's Shia. He's Shia LaBeouf. But I don't know if you noticed, but when the band was like taking a break or whatever, they're on the side of the road and one of them is reading the newspaper. The whole front page was like New Orleans Hornets against Chicago Bulls. I was like, okay, whatever timeline this is, their fucking NBA's still going. That's great.
Oh shit. I actually didn't notice that. That's a good catch.
Yeah, I was like, okay, we still got the NBA and whatever fucking like that's what Caesar should be doing with his power.
Oh, true.
He should be going to the games, freezing time, like betting on the game, freeze time, go in, you know, mess up Chris Paul or whoever it is in this fucking
shoe or something.
Exactly. And then you make money that way. What is he doing?
You can mess with shots. Like he could, like Curry's about to hit it, pause it, tilt it to the side a little bit.
Exactly.
And then brick. And then you just bet the under every single time. Just keep messing with Curry's shot. Curry's off tonight. He needs to be more like actually, no, you didn't, never mind. I was gonna say he needs to be more like Biff, but
whoa, no.
Yeah, no, he doesn't need to be like Biff. He's gonna be like
Don't be like Biff.
Biff in Back to the Future 2. Watch Back to the Future 2, you'll get that reference.
Fair enough.
It's a sports reference. But yeah, so you're gonna have to help me with this part. So I'm gonna be opening it up front with the audience and with you. So like the whole part, like Caesar gets framed for the assault, right? And he gets arrested. But my whole taking notes at this point was a mess. So my whole journey,
I don't blame you.
My whole journey. No, but this is prior to the movie.
Oh,
because initially Eloise was supposed to come with me. I was gonna go see this movie on the Thursday like you, but then Eloise was like, I want to watch this movie. I was like, let me wait. So I'll go watch. We'll watch it on the Saturday. But she got insanely sick, so I was taking care of her and everything. And I was like, I still got to go see the movie for the pod. So
yeah,
like,
I'm sorry.
I'll see you in a bit. So that I'm rushing there, and I was like, because we didn't at that point we didn't even eat dinner. I was like, oh man, I got to eat something. So like, I didn't miss the beginning of the movie, but I ran to the front concession, got a hot dog and nachos, ran in, and I was like, because I can't take notes and watch this movie on an empty stomach. It's going to be a miserable experience. So at this point, I was like, all right, I got to eat now. Like I'm hungry.
Okay.
So I opened up my freaking hot dog. It was a dry dog. I realized I didn't get any ketchup, no mustard.
Not a dry glizzy.
I had to scarf down a dry glizzy.
Not the dry glizzy.
And the nachos they gave. So I'm like eating my dry glizzy. I'm trying to take my notes. I got my nachos, and like I opened up the thing. There was some salsa in there, but they kind of went half-ass on the sauce. I didn't get that much salsa, so like I got half as much for my nachos. So I was eating some dry nachos, dry dog, dry glizzy, dry nachos. No.
Did you have a drink?
Take a note. What?
Did you have a drink at least?
I had some water, but it was my own water bottle because I don't want to pay the movie theater prices for a drink. So I bring my own water in. But I realized I didn't do myself justice with that because I was basically done my drink. So please refresh me on what happened with him getting, because he got framed, right? Like Claudio framed him.
Yeah. So it was. So Shia during the whole. I mean, you missed a fucking wild scene. Like so this is the wedding reception of Wow Platinum and Hamilton Crassus. Mm-hmm. So the rich banker. Yeah. And he somehow Wow Platinum gets him to marry her. Yeah. Gets all of his money. But anyway, so this is their wedding reception. And one thing I had to point out going in is we see them like as everyone's pulling up to the reception to the big, it's basically like a coliseum. Like there's people fighting in the middle and there's all this crazy shit happening. But all the poor people, like the middle class or whatever, lower class, they're all literally behind fences and they have signs saying like fuck the mayor or fuck Caesar, and they're all just mad. So I think that helped push that theme across again. Yeah. Just again showing that the rich elite don't even care, but they're having their big ass party. All these guys, their houses have been blown up. They don't even give a shit. And then when we get into the reception, this is what I was mentioning. Like the whole family is in this big giant balcony, and Caesar pulls up. He talks to his mom for a bit, and there's all the whole family. They're all kissing each other. They're all being super just weird, just really, really weird. Yeah, I think again, like I said, he's kind of making fun of the rich elite, especially in Roman times. I'm sure there was lots of fucking incest and weird, fucked up shit they were doing. And then so Shia or Claudio goes like backstage. And he has a USB and he gives it to whoever's running this TV cast. Yeah. And he gets him to play this video. And it's a video of Caesar. Well, it's a doctored video of Caesar having sex with the virgin. So there's like this virgin girl that, and they're auctioning her off. Like, Jesus, this shit is fucking wild. But so he gets the video and they're like, oh, he fucked this girl. But he doesn't even acknowledge it. He just gets drunk and high and then ends up arrested.
Okay, that's what because I guess I missed there's a little, because some of that sounds familiar. I guess I just missed the frame. Here's the USB thing. Because from what I remember, it was just like, oh, he did this, and I saw him in prison with the fly, and he's like, I lost my powers. And like that, I was like, wait, what the fuck did I just miss?
Well, honestly, the whole, how did he lose his powers? I sat there through the whole movie. I don't understand that either. Another thing they never, like the whole thing with his powers makes no sense. They never explain anything about it, how he gets them, how he loses them, why he has them, what he did. Like that whole thing makes absolutely no sense. But that's how he gets framed. But I mean, that was one of my biggest beefs with the movie, is that like kind of almost everything that happens throughout the story as we move along feels unimportant, because he just ignores it and it goes away.
Yeah.
Like all the people, like the mayor that's trying to go against him, and Claudio that's trying to go against him, and Wow that's like, taking over the bank and trying to stop.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to stop him from building this city,
Mm-hmm.
and he literally doesn't do anything about it, and he still builds his city. And I'm like, bro, why? None of this shit matters. He just ignores everything.
Yeah, no, so it's like, yeah, why would he not, like, it didn't seem like there was much fight to protest that you didn't actually do anything with that. He's kind of, I feel like he accepted his fate. Yeah. And Julia did all the work to get him out. Like, he wasn't like, he was like, I swear I'm innocent. I swear I'm innocent. He was just like, just accepted it. And
he was just drunk as shit, wasted in the car. He gets arrested. They do the work to say, no, it's a doctored video. And then he gets released, and he didn't, none of that. What was the point of that? So he gets arrested, and the next day he's just out on the street. The movie keeps going. That didn't do anything for anything.
It really didn't. And then you have like, so after that, like, so yeah, now he gets out, like she's with him. And then this is the one scene I actually did kind of enjoy too, because then Julie and him come back together, and he's telling her like, I lost my powers. Like, like the whole like the beam scene, like he's kind of just sitting on the beams.
Yeah.
So like I actually did like, I liked this scene. And then there was like a cool little moment. Like there's nothing really to hate on it for this. It was just because like a lot of the movie is shot well, just in general. Okay, you got some hate.
Well, I got plenty of hate, bro. The thing about this scene is like he's like, oh, I lost my powers. Then they have this meaningful scene. It's good for their characters and their relationship.
That's what
we
I
see
meant in
that kind
sense.
of block. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I don't got any beef there. But where I do have beef is that she walks up to him and she's like, just try it. Yeah. And then he tries it and then it works. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like, can you do anything in this movie that fucking means anything? Like, this guy has these powers that already are meaningless. Yeah. Then he loses them. You never tell us how that happened or why that happened. And then all it takes is this girl to be like, no, you can do it. And then he could do it? That's so fucking stupid.
Part of me was thinking that, like, it was her, that, like, her touching him. It was like, I have powers too. Like because at this point we're assuming she has the powers too, right?
Right.
It's once they touch hands, it's like, here, use some of my power. That's what in my head I was thinking. I was like, oh, so she has powers. I was waiting for them as soon as they let go, the time was gonna go back or something like that. But that isn't what happened. That isn't. You needed
both of them together, like a fusion ring or something.
Exactly.
But I mean, but then tell me that, like, you gotta explain something to me. Like I said, I don't mind when there's some things that are open to interpretation and left unsaid, but holy shit, man.
Oh, I know. 100%. Well, one thing, I guess, this is kind of open to an interpretation, but I feel like it was kind of on the nose because, like, later on we get like the riots about Caesar and stuff, and we see like Claudio's character, like Shia's character, and he's kind of leading them, and he's saying like basically like F Caesar or anything. Like, do you think that like that Francis was? I call him Francis because he's my boy, Francis. I'm not Coppola, just Francis. I call him Fran. You think he's making parallels to like Claudio with like being like to Trump or like some kind
definitely, bro. I was like, because one, there's the Confederate flag, so they're flying the Confederate flag. They have the girl, so these girls, I think it's Claudio's sister, and maybe her friends, or they're probably cousins. But they're wearing like traditional American dresses.
Oh, true.
And he gets out. There was even a couple of them with like really like bright red hats.
Yeah,
like the MAGA hats. Yeah. I was like, okay,
it was quick. That's how I was like,
it was quick. It was quick. But another reason that I'm quite confident that he's making fun of Trump supporters. Is that he's openly liberal.
Oh,
like just in like in real life, Francis Ford Coppola is openly Democratic. So he's like, so I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure he's making. But even there's a swastika carved into the tree that he stands up. Wild. I was like, holy shit, dude! Like, this is fucking wild.
I like looked around. I'm like, okay, how far are we about to get in this movie? Like,
insane.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great. It's funny watching this, like, because we're both watching The Boys too. It's a funny parallel with that because The Boys, especially in the fourth scene, is really leaned into the politics shit. And it's funny because I was watching this, I'm like, it's like everything I'm watching right now is very
definitely
very getting into the politics.
I watched this movie with Jordan, Jordan, but my friend Jordan, and as soon as actually the first thing I said to him after the movie was over, I was like, I'm glad I'm not hosting this because what the fuck? How is Dion going to structure this shit? but then I was saying, because we also watched The Boys as well, and I was like, yeah, it's literally the same thing. They're just making fun of Trump support, like the way Shia, he even says it. He's like, I'm going in to lead these masses of mad people, and they're just gonna follow me. And even at the end, when Shia, when they turn on him, he's like, "Oh, so much for your loyal base." Like, there's so many little remarks that make it very clear that they're making fun of Trump supporters. But that's a bold move.
Yeah, no, it is, because at least in The Boys, they go back and forth with it. They lean a little bit more democratic, but they definitely do make fun of the other side too.
Yeah.
Which is again is equally as funny. Like they'd have their shots, but this one was very clear pointed, and it's just like, it's fine. It's your movie. Do whatever you want. Like make fun of who you want to make fun of.
If he had a producer from a studio, that probably wouldn't have let that shit fly. But this is why he said, he's like, no, I want to make my movie. I want to say fuck you to the right, and it's what he did.
So this was another thing too, which is I had mixed feelings on this, because we had that whole like meteor hit. Like, I don't know if you had anything.
It was a satellite.
That. Oh yeah, satellite. Yeah, the satellite. Yeah. I guess it broke up, and then it turned into multiple. But I think the imagery of the people covering, like they're doing the whole thing of the impact. Like, I thought it was kind of cool, but I think they showed it a little too many times, because I think it almost became comical a little bit. Like they kept showing it. Like, to me, it looked like almost some, like, you put like a different song on it, it could almost be like some kind of meme, or it'd be like a funny like dance or something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I kept seeing it, because
like hot
this. All right, I got the edit ready.
Yeah. That's gotta be a clip, bro. Bobby Shmurda with about a week ago. Hey.
He built Megalopolis about a week ago.
Hey. Bro, this is one thing I wrote down too. I actually liked it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
The imagery, just like there's shadows on the buildings. I thought it was cool. The whole idea of the satellite crash, I didn't love, because they kind of mention it super quick. They're like, hey, there's a satellite crashing to Earth. What can we do? Nothing. Okay. And then it just crashes to Earth. I was like, what the fuck? Okay. So why did you mention this earlier? But anyways, and apparently this is kind of how the whole big megalopolis was built, because the satellite crash comes in and clears out a whole big section of New York. And that's how he can build this whole city. But I was like, one, they never tell us this. Another thing. Fuck. And two, why were they blowing up buildings beforehand? What?
Why did they not try to fight it? Like, we're supposed to be in this kind of like futuristic thing. They know it's coming. Why couldn't they do anything about it?
You're right. That's a great point. Like, fucking Megalon is this super material. He gets fucking shot in the head, and it saves his ass. So, but they couldn't blow up a satellite or stop a satellite, or I don't know.
That was my only thing with it, because when I look at that scene, this is why, like, because I watch a lot of old movies, and sometimes those imagery things work, because you understand, like, okay, they had to do it like this because that was for the time. Like, one of the movies I use for example is what's it? Oh, I can't remember the name of the movie. But anyway, in the movie, they have this thing where like they're trying to get across the imagery of like a devil on a wall. So they did kind of like this projector thing, and it made me think of that. Okay. Where I was like, okay, well, they couldn't do like a green screen thing back then or whatever. So they did like a projection thing, and that made me think of that. I was like, oh, they did a projection on a building. That made me think of very much like this is an old school director doing old school, but that he didn't just do a projection on a building. There's clearly like some kind of like effects thing. But that made me think of that, but. Yeah, I just thought it was funny because they did it so many times, which didn't take away from it. It looked cool, but I was like, okay, I get it. They're
yeah, no, you're great. I didn't really think about it in the moment, but you're right. They do it for a long time, but I thought it looked cool.
No, it did look cool.
But the biggest thing for me was just the satellite. Like there was a couple quick shots of it before this. You see like it's clearly a Russian satellite as well.
Yeah.
You see it like floating through space a couple times, and I'm like, why are they showing me this satellite? And then it crashes to Earth, and I was like, whoa, what the hell? Like just not enough that's being explained. And you can easily go the other way where you're overdoing the exposition and explaining everything. And if you're babying the audience and be like, okay, I got to explain to you how this works, and I got to explain to you how that works. And that's not necessarily true, but like there's got to be a balance.
No, for sure. 100%. And There's the other scene too. I don't know if there's much for you to say here, but we get the news of them finding they have like a baby. We have the whole baby names thing. I don't know if you have anything you want to say about that. You got any notes about them?
The only thing I wrote down was that Julia, is this when she was talking to her parents, when her parents had come?
That is all wrapped in that. This goes from like them being in bed and being like, "Oh, guess what news?"
Oh,
and then,
right, yeah,
and then
yeah,
the parents and yeah.
But this is when, so then we get a time skip and she's pregnant, like really pregnant. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, so there is a time skip. You didn't tell me how long it's been or what's happened between now and then, but there's a time skip. Okay. And then her parents come and they're like in this Megalon house. I was like, what is this? You're now living in a Megalon house? Where did this come from? That confused me. But then she was just quoting Marcus Aurelius. She said like 4 quotes from him. I was like, this bitch knows everything this guy's ever said.
I guess her dad just had her just reading as a kid. I was thinking the same thing too. I'm like, oh, she's not done. She kept going. And he was even shook too. He's like, oh, damn, I taught her too much.
He was like, yo, she pulled out all the fucking quotes, all the bars on me. Damn. He couldn't go bar for bar.
Nah, he couldn't. The one thing another scene that made me laugh too was later on one of the rallies with Claudio. And this is why I think when we got he stood on the swastika and he got up there and then everyone was cheering for them and someone was cheering seriously like, who said that? Yo, shut the fuck up. That guy.
Yo, Shia was great, man.
Oh,
no, I never realized it. I don't know why, but like I've seen a bunch of movies. He's fucking sick.
It was Transformers, right? Isn't that moment like, you
Transformers
realize?
Is what made me like open my eyes to it. But I was like, this guy is a good actor. Like he's really good in this movie. And he's fucking hilarious. Like, and the way he committed to, like when he's wearing the dress.
Oh yeah.
In the whole in the wedding reception,
mm-hmm.
I was like, he pulled out in the dress. Like they slowly bring the shot up from the floor.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a woman, and then it was him. I was like, yo, this guy's fucking sick.
Nah, he definitely had his issues in his real life that stunted his acting career,
right?
Obviously, but no, he was definitely on his way. Like he was in a lot of shit. Like he was in the sequel to, I can't remember the name of the movie, but then he was in Indiana Jones. Obviously, he was in the Transformers movies. He was up in there, and like he was in some somewhat I think True Grit was another one. Someone told me to watch True Grit. It's a good I think like a Western movie he's in. I'm like, yeah, he's great in that.
He was in an old Lawless, I think it was, like a prohibition movie with Tom Hardy.
Oh, maybe that's the movie I'm talking about. I'm thinking about.
Could be
True Grit. I don't know, but yeah, that's because I think that is it. But yeah, no, he is hilarious though, and part of me just because of that whole trivia we did with the Transformers one, where we were talking about how he was doing a lot of ad libs. I was like, was he ad libbing in this, or some of these things ad libs? Now
I was thinking that
on
too.
him all the time now.
I mean, I think he probably did ad lib a lot because one of the things I read was that Francis Ford Coppola, our boy Francis, he tried this experimental style with this movie of directing where he was like, basically anybody fucking try anything. Like fucking do whatever the hell you want. We're just going to try whatever. We're just going to improv anything. So he was like, actors were coming to him with ideas for scenes and like whole things were changing like crazy, which actually made the movie very difficult. And this, like the set there was a lot of tension because there was no plan.
No, for sure.
For a guy like Shia, I'm sure he fucking cooked in that setting.
For sure. And like you can do this because like majority of the actors in this movie are pretty established actors, so you have your faith in those actors. So he's like, oh yeah, you guys know what
all-star cast, 100%.
100%. Yeah, so it's just like, oh yeah, you guys do what you want to do.
Yeah. The last thing I want to say about like you said the rally, basically, like that's what it is. It's like an alt-right rally that he's putting on the screen, and just that he's literally using in this movie the poor people who are uneducated and desperate because they've lost their house, and he's just taking them, fueling that fire, and using them to gain a mass and get power from it. It's just the messaging is so on the nose. It's 100%. It's ballsy that he's doing something like this, man. Especially like during an election.
Yeah,
fucking crazy.
I mean, he's old. He doesn't care. He really doesn't care. If he cared at this point, it'd be almost concerning. Be like, yo, do whatever the hell you want. Like, they don't care. If you're on set and you have different views than him, you're probably just biting your tongue. And be like,
that's true, actually.
You don't even think about that.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
What about the Republicans that were working on the movie? What do they think?
Saying, hey, just because you're Republican doesn't mean you love Trump or anything. You know what I mean? I think that's
I
another
guess.
misconception too.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's just like, I'm a Republican. I hate this Trump guy. But some people just be like, it doesn't matter. You put a shadow in there. I'm voting that way anyway.
Yeah,
Doesn't.
exactly.
But
Yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah. So this is one thing. I have a question for you about this one scene. I'll break it down. So this is a scene where like Francis offers to Caesar to make. He basically offers Caesar. He's like, make Julia a single mom, and I'll support you for your for Megalopolis, and then I'll show you your dead wife. Like, does he not think that Julia's gonna hate him for supporting the guy who left her and the child? Like, I don't know what his angle was with that.
Yeah, this confused me too. I was happy that it was in there. Like when the scene was happening, I was like, okay, this is actually a scene where something's being explained to me.
Yes.
I love this. This is great. But then by the end of it, I was also more confused. I was like, okay, you're trying to explain it to me. It's not working, but at least you're trying. I respect it. But you're right. Because why? I was like, is he trying to get him to leave Julia by supporting him professionally? But then why would he want to do that? One, this is his daughter and she loves the guy.
Yeah.
Why would you want this guy to leave? Two, father of her child, you don't want him in the picture? Like this is not what you want, dude.
That's what I mean.
And you don't want Megalopolis to happen. So this feels like a backwards trade. He's losing this trade.
It really does. Yeah, it makes no sense, bro. Yeah, this is Boston trading for Brooklyn for all the picks and
KG, Paul Pierce.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. What are you getting and what does it make any sense? Like, yeah, like you said, it's like, why would you want what does he gain from this? It makes sense if she didn't have the kid. Like if she wasn't pregnant. Yeah, leave my daughter. There's no kid.
Make your city and we're good. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I feel like his main gripe is that he didn't want this whole city thing to happen. I thought that was his main. That's what we understood from watching this movie. That was the main thing he didn't want to happen. I don't want to see Megalopolis happen. Now it's stay away from my daughter at all costs.
You're right. It literally seems backwards. I feel like it would be the opposite. It'd be like, okay, stay with my daughter, so she has the father of her child. Because even if you don't like the guy, you want your daughter to have fucking help in raising a baby. Like, you know what I mean? So you would say, okay, stay with my daughter and don't make the city. He did the literal opposite. He's like, okay, make the city. I don't care. Leave my daughter. She'll be now a single mother. What? This is so backwards. I don't know what he's doing.
It doesn't make any sense, bro. That kid's name's gonna be Food Stamps, yo. That's what. It's a callback.
Dude, yeah, fucking. That's a fucking bar and a half. Oh my god. Food Stamps is fucking nasty work. Holy shit.
Oh my god. But go.
The last thing I had to, but not last thing, but one thing I wanted to mention about bring it back to Shia again is just in the moments that like the whole time he's in the movie, I'm like, is he actually acting? Yeah. Like he's so fucking weird on screen, and like I said, that's kind of the point. Like the whole rich and elite, they're all super weird and crazy, but like this is just Shia. I feel like he's not even acting.
Oh yeah, I know. He is just a goofball, man. That's exactly what I was thinking too. Just like he's just a weird dude.
They just through a camera on him and was like, okay, Shia, just exist. Just do what you got to do. We'll put on, and it just works perfectly. It's amazing.
So this is when things started to really pop. I mean, this is when I was really up. Like the whole when the little kid Sam, like, can you sign this thing? The whole nice to meet you thing, and the scene was just because when going into the scene, like obviously we're talking about the scene where he shoots him, and in that scene I was kind of like on edge because I didn't actually you figured something was gonna happen, but I didn't actually know if the book was gonna explode or something. Or he was setting them up. You know what I mean? Like what did you think about that whole scene?
Yeah, you're right. I was on my toes because this is right when Shia's goon. I don't actually know his name. I'm even looking at the list of the cast, and there's so many characters. I don't know who he was, but he's was
definitely
like
not top build, so it's not like
no, exactly. So he was like, oh, so we gotta. He basically is plotting to take out Caesar.
Yeah.
So when this kid comes along, and the kid's just being really like awkward, I was like, okay, there's something with this kid, and then when he shoots him, I was like, holy shit. I mean, I don't know why he sat there throughout the whole time when Caesar's like, oh, good for you, kid. Like, what you like architecture? Or you like this? You like he's talking to him. He's like, yeah, no, yeah. And then when he gives him the book back, then he shoots him. I don't know why he didn't just shoot him first of all.
Yeah,
but
I know.
You're right. I was on my toes. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah, and it was one of those. It's funny because then we see what the payoff is later with like him healing and everything. So then you're like, well, okay, I guess it didn't.
That's what that was going to be one of my beefs. I was like, this is just like I said with when Shia frames him for having sex with this underage virgin, right?
Yeah.
He ignores it and it goes away. This one, he gets shot in the face. They throw some Megalon on it. He has wraps on his head for 2 days and then he's fine. I was like, what was the point of this?
And now he's Two-Face.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm waiting for Robert Pattinson to come in this.
Now he's fucking Harvey Dent and but I was like,
and now he's running for mayor.
This is just lame.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, now he's ready for mayor. I was like, if Megalon just comes and fucking heals him, what was the point of this?
Yeah.
It didn't add anything. I was like, okay, he got shot in the face and then nothing happened.
Yeah.
I was expecting something to happen. Nothing changed.
And there's even the thing too, because then we get another callback to his wife too, because we're still kind of wondering the whole thing what happened with his wife, and then we find out that she died, and I guess she had twins. Is that that was what we were led to believe, that she died with twins, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny whenever it is funny because whenever I think of like someone's car crashing into the waters, and now you'll get this. I always think of iRobot. That's always the first thing I think of.
Oh, okay.
iRobot. It's the opening scene.
Yeah.
And then I think of Stan, like the Eminem song, just because I don't know if you even know that song. But for whatever reason, the car goes into the water. What?
Okay. Well, I was gonna say the name doesn't ring a bell, but if I heard the song, I'm sure I know.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, no, it's whenever I see that was just a little note I had to throw in there. But
well, that was one thing that also confused me, and I don't know if you know this, but
yeah,
because when he was saying, this is how I discovered Megalon. I tried to save my wife, and Megalon was born from that. What? How? How does that make any sense?
No, that didn't. I didn't understand that either.
Okay, it's not just me.
No, it isn't just you. I was kind of just
okay.
Okay.
Like that was the whole time when I was watching this movie. I was like, "There's a whole lot of shit I'm not fucking following." I don't know if it's me, and it's just going over my head, and I'm not an educated enough moviegoer.
Yeah.
But Jesus Christ, what like I got my wife out of the water, and suddenly I have this element. The fuck?
I don't know, man.
And even the scene early on when he goes to see his wife, like when he buys the flowers and goes to see her, but then she's not really there. That confused me too. I guess like I think that was him maybe holding on to his wife, because then we later at that point we get the scene with Julia when she's like, "No, you have to let it go. Like don't blame yourself," stuff like that. Yeah. And then we even get the point where the mayor, like you said, says, "Oh, I'll show you your wife's body. Like I had her body removed." So like all this, but he said he got his wife and got the Megalon from it. So how did the mayor get her body? I don't know, man.
And that's why I'm sick in the head. I'm gonna watch this movie again, just because I want some closure.
I don't think you're gonna get it with another watch.
Maybe maybe I could watch it again. Maybe I could watch some more interviews, because I think more interviews will come out. Maybe as the movies is out for longer, and maybe I could make more sense of it. I'll watch more Francis interviews. I don't know. I just feel I don't feel empty, but I feel like I just feel incomplete. I'm like,
I feel confused.
Yeah, and like I wasn't sure if it was like that's why I was looking around. I was like, my first thought was like, do I just not know enough about history that I'm just like I'm missing a lot of things? But it's not even just that too. Like we said, there's like certain just plot points in the movie where it's just like I don't know, that didn't really make sense. But
yeah, and I don't think in 60 BC, I don't think Caesar had the power to stop time. So I don't think if you knew history, that would help you understand that.
That's true. Yeah.
Maybe there are a few points, you're right, that maybe we miss because we don't know the whole story inside and out. Yeah. But to expect your audience to know to all be history buffs and know the story, if that's what you're required to be able to understand the movie, that's a bad call already.
Yeah, that's true. No, it's a good point. I say like this a lot. The third act is more. We get more of WoW Platinum and Shia. Their roles get a little more involved in this because we get the whole thing. Like this is another thing where I was like, okay, are there powers in this? Because remember that scene where like WoW. I don't want to call her Palladium, but I almost call her Palladium again. Platinum. She does like she's trying to like hypnotize like Caesar. Right. At that point, I'm like, wait, can she hypnotize people? Is that how she married the bank dude? Like, does she have powers?
I thought that too. Yeah, I thought that too. I was like, huh, is this how she got the banker to marry her? And then, yeah, her and Shia have this wild ass scene.
Yeah,
where
hilarious scene. That was a funny scene.
That was pretty wild. While she's basically telling him what to do so they can.
And are they related?
I don't think so.
Because you call her auntie. That was the thing that.
Oh yeah, I think it's because she married his uncle, or is that his grandpa?
Yeah,
that's his grandpa, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is his grandpa.
I don't know. It'd be maybe even grosser if he was saying granny or Grammy or something. But but yeah, that's a wild scene while they set up this coup. But I was also wondering, does this affect Caesar and Megalopolis?
Yeah,
like if the whole bank situation, because they had Caesar's accounts and they freeze his accounts, and he comes, he's like, "Oh, my accounts are frozen," and then nothing ends up happening with that either. Another fucking useless part of the movie. But like when they're setting up this coup and they're having this weird sex or dominatrix thing going on, I was like, is this just like a side plot of them taking over the bank? But would this ultimately affect Caesar? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, and like my whole thing was like, I was trying to, I don't know if I heard it wrong, because like she was trying to convince him to like tell his grandfather, like, give everything to me. Like that was basically what their plan was. Like, you're gonna confront him and just be like, because it didn't seem like this plan was just go to him and tell him you're gonna give everything to me. Like, and then it just didn't work out in the sauna, right? And then I thought he died. Did you not think he died too? The way that scene, he was kind of like all shocked, he's on the ground, and then scene cut. I was like, oh, they killed him or something.
Yeah.
And then he shows up later, and I was like, oh, he's not dead.
And he fucking wipes them out with this tiny ass little bow and arrow. Oh, yeah. This is fucking dollar store bow and arrow. I was like, what the fuck is this?
That little thing popped me though. The pop was like, what do you think of this bow? And I was like, okay. I was like, what's going on here? And then when he took it, I was like, oh shit, okay. All right, Gramps.
All right, yeah, they one right to her chest. But like, even like there's the shot of him shooting the arrow. Like, I know that shit fell like 4 feet in front of him. Like, there's no power.
Way. He's like, he's still lying down. He like got to pull back like a millimeter, and that thing went like right through her chest.
Bro, it looked like a child with a Nerf fucking bow and arrow, bro. He's just like, I know that shit fell 2 feet in front of the floor, and that went right through her chest, like you said. I was like, okay, that's bullshit, but whatever. And then he shoots Shia twice. I was like, okay, this guy's a sniper somehow. When fucking just a second ago, he was some rich jagoff that maybe got hypnotized. I wasn't even sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
That made me laugh though.
No, that was a funny scene. And so then we get the like this is basically it. Like we're kind of at the end of the movie, because like they get Caesar and Julia get married. They have their whole like speech, the Megalopolis, because Megalopolis is built. The whole New Year's thing, they have their baby. Time freezes. Did you have any like final thoughts on like the whole last bit?
Well, some more hate. Okay, it was just like, so they have this whole ass big city of Megalopolis now. He's like, the gates to Megalopolis are now open.
Yeah,
and everyone just walks in, and I was like, did no one see this being built? Like the whole time is like Shia's character leading this mass in like a revolution, saying you're blowing up our houses. What are you doing? Fuck the mayor and Caesar. Yeah. And then there's just this whole ass city that no one noticed being built. How did that happen? And then the baby stops time.
Yeah,
but Caesar and Julia are also stopped. So did they lose their powers and now the baby has it? But there's no way the baby could control the power, so is time just going to be frozen forever? Like, there was just so much shit. I was like, what is going on here?
The first thing I thought of when I told Eloise, she's like, oh, so how was the movie? I was like, if you walked in that movie on drugs, you probably would have had an amazing experience just visually. You'd been like, this is just so great. Everything just looks so great. But if you went in that movie just like expecting, I don't know what you expected, because I didn't have like these high expectations. Like I already know the movie looked kind of weird, so I was like, oh, it looks interesting. Looks like it's gonna be an interesting movie. Let me go see this interesting movie. And like you said, there's a lot of interesting concepts, but it was just like you said. I think that was one of the things too, where it's like these things happened, where it's like, oh snap, that happened. Like, oh, like Caesar got shot. Oh, like he's arrested, or like or this happened. But like it didn't feel like, where was the actual consequence? Like things happen, like, oh, that was a bad thing, and then it just gets brushed under, and it's like, okay,
Exactly.
I guess it wasn't that big of a deal.
He literally just ignores all the things, like the mayor that's constantly trying to stop him from building Megalopolis. He just ignored. Like I feel like if there was him fighting back, against this, and there's actual conflict there, like there's no conflict in this movie.
No,
like
for sure,
everything feels like it doesn't matter, and it just doesn't work. Like you said, I kind of went in not knowing what to expect. I was interested because of Francis Ford Coppola. The cast very much excited me. I watched the trailer and it looked very interesting, like visually, like you had mentioned.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I didn't really. The trailer didn't explain anything. I was like, okay, I don't know what the plot is, so I'm going in with no expectations. But the trailer was just like the movie; it still didn't explain anything. But that I don't know. I went in with no expectations either. Well, not no expectations, but like open open expectations, and it didn't work for me.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like the concepts were there, but it's kind of like your point, and it's an interesting point you made back when we did. I think we did the Interstellar episode where you're talking about how
we haven't done Interstellar. What are you talking about?
Oh, Inception. Where you're talking about the like Nolan with his plots. Like his movies are very much really about the ideas, and there's not much. Sometimes there's not like there's not much of a plot. And I feel like Coppola probably went into this thinking like, man, I have like these really great ideas. And then maybe he threw in these little things like, oh, let's let them get shot. Oh, let's have them get this. You know what I mean? But like at the end of the day, he's like, those things don't really matter. I just want to get my ideas in here. I want to show that I don't like these kind of things. I want to show the rich look like you know, like those themes, and like those were apparent to us. They were like right on the nose. Like we said, like, okay, he clearly wanted to get these things in here. And I don't know if he even cared about any of the other stuff. I think he just put those in there just to make, okay, well, I need to put this in here to make it a movie. But I just want people to see these things, to know that this is how I feel.
That's a good point. And you might be right. And I wouldn't be surprised if you were right. But if that's the case, get a screenwriter. Get somebody to fucking write a script that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then you tell the screenwriter, okay, I want this scene specifically in there where I can explore this theme.
Yeah.
Or I want this in here so that I can, put this message in my movie. I can do this. But like for all the in between, like it's really all the in between that just fails in this movie. Like if you have an actual screenwriter, because all of his big movies that were successful, Godfather, based on a novel by Mario Puzo, who helped him write the screenplay for the movie. Apocalypse Now, co-written with John Milius. Dracula was based on a novel by Bram Stoker, and he had a screenplay, a playwright that wrote the screenplay. Like he is good at maybe adapting things and directing, but writing, Jesus Christ, get someone to fucking help you, bro.
And honestly, it's that, or just get a producer. It's both. One of them. Just get one of them.
So just get someone to help you. Like you're right. You mentioned earlier that maybe he had people come in that were just yes men.
Yeah.
Like he had said he didn't want producers, so he didn't want anyone telling him what to do. But like you need a second opinion on these things, man. Like you can't just come in with these ideas and say people are going to understand what I mean. Like I'm sure they're like all the satellite crash and their powers. I'm sure there is actual sense there. Like it does in theory make sense, but you have to explain it to people. Like if you come in with your own singular point of view, you're like, okay, people will understand this, so I don't have to put it in. We don't understand this, bro. You need someone to tell you, I don't know what the fuck this is.
100%. And I as of right now, I'm looking at Spike Lee little sideways, because I saw Adam Driver saying that they have, like the thing I was talking about earlier, like they had that screening where they had other directors come in and stuff. And he quoted Spike Lee saying, he's like, yeah, man, Francis, the movie's great,
Oh
bitch.
no!
How
Come
dare
on, Spike.
you? Come on,
Fuck.
Spike. Come on, Spike. You know what great is, bro. He made some
Come
great
on.
movies. I'll give him great, especially in later in his career too, like Black Klansman. If you ever seen Black Klansman,
I haven't seen it yet. No,
Adam
it's on my
Driver's
list.
in that. Adam Driver's in
Yep.
that too.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Driver's in a lot of big directors' movies. The only people he hasn't done at this point is probably like Nolan and Tarantino, but he's done everybody at this point.
Yeah, well, he's been in Star Wars. That's already
not even
not
just
big
like
directors, but just that's a big franchise.
Yeah, but he's been in now he's been in Francis movie. He's been in Spike Lee movie. He's been in a Spielberg movie. He's been in a Scorsese movie. He's been in even just right there. That's enough.
What are the Scorsese and Spielberg
oh,
movies?
and
let me look.
And he was in Ridley Scott movie. He's in a Michael Mann movie. It's a lot. There's a lot of people right there. Yeah. Like, okay, so I'll say it. Ferrari was Michael Mann.
Okay.
The House of Gucci is Ridley Scott. The Last Duel is Ridley Scott. What was the other one? Oh, Black Klansman is Spike Lee. J.J. Abrams, he's still young. I don't want to give it to him yet. Okay. Silence was Scorsese, but yeah, he's been in. That's a lot of directors.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
It's not all their best films, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but he's in them.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you're in all those guys. Which ones? It doesn't matter.
Don't worry. I was in a Scorsese movie. All right, that's all you got to know. What did you think of him in this movie, though?
I thought he was pretty good. He wasn't my favorite. I liked him. I liked him more in other things. Like again, like at the beginning of the movie, I thought he was kind of boring. But throughout the movie, like with this dry humor and stuff like that, like his interactions with like WoW and stuff. That one coat scene, I can't remember what exactly he said, but I remember it made me laugh. When I think he literally just said wow. Like I remember she was like, oh man, like I need you, whatever. I think he was just like, it was just really quiet, and he was just like, wow. And then I think he just like walked away. Or something.
I think that. Yeah, that was early on when they were in like his room, and he shows up and she, or maybe it's a different scene you're talking about.
But that scene, that was funny too.
Yeah, because I was gonna say when she's like, she wants to basically suck him off.
Yeah,
and he's doesn't even pay her no attention. He shows up and then he leaves right away. But like just the way he kind of beats down her. But I thought his character actually had some depth, and I thought he played them pretty interesting. And like I said, I thought his chemistry with Nathalie Emmanuel, who played Julia, was pretty good. I thought he was solid.
No, I did too. I liked it. It was believable, the relationship. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, that's all I got for. Do you have any did you have any interesting facts you can get to throw out that maybe you saw in your research or before we get into the films?
Really, the biggest fact, I guess, was just I read a whole lot about what a mess filming of the filming of this movie was. Like I even read that there was a member of the crew that was quoted saying, he had this, like I mentioned before, he had this experimental style where he went in with like very little plan and he was changing things all the time. So a member of the crew was basically saying that he would come in the morning on days where they have like a big plan for one of the big scenes.
Yeah.
And then he would want to make changes to it. So he would sit in his trailer for hours, like writing down changes or thinking of other things. And then because there's no plan, no one knows what to do. And then he would come out and have ideas with all the shit that didn't make sense. And then they would have to try and basically make magic with it. So he said that created a lot of creative differences on set. He even fired most of his the visual effects team in midway through production. He was apparently early on in the movie. There's this club scene, right?
Yeah,
where there's like people that are half naked and they're all kissing each other. And apparently Francis was walking through the set, like kissing people, like girls, like getting them to sit on his lap and like kissing them on the cheek to try and like set the mood for the scene. I was like, that's fucking creepy.
What?
That's fucking. I mean, I read this online, so it's possible it's not true.
Yeah,
it's possible it's not true, but like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, we'll just say allegedly.
Allegedly.
So people don't try to come on us, but that is wild though if it is true.
That's what I was saying. I was like, you could just tell them what the scene's about. You don't have to start making out with the actors. What are you doing, bro?
Yeah, that's wild.
But I didn't have anything other than that. So, unless you did.
The only other thing that I saw was, it's funny you mentioned the whole that it was a nightmare on set, because that's like the story of his career. They said
Right.
about Godfather, they
Yeah.
said about Apocalypse Now. He almost died for directing Apocalypse Now, just like from depression and not eating and all these things. And like
Jesus.
there's a whole documentary on Apocalypse Now about how crazy it was on set. And
Yeah, I haven't watched the documentary, but I've heard about it, and I've heard all the horror stories. Yeah, everyone's saying, and it's like went a gajillion dollars over budget because
yeah.
of all the fuck ups.
And apparently, he lost so much money that like his next couple movies were just him basically making money just to pay back all his debts and stuff like that. I'm just like, he
That's why
seems,
he didn't make this movie.
yeah, exactly. And I think, yeah, they said that the budget for this was like over 100 mil or something like that. All
120.
all self financed. I'm like,
He sold his winery to finance the movie, and I gotta admit, I don't like the marketing wasn't that crazy on it,
yeah,
and we didn't really like it. A lot of other people didn't really like it, so I don't think it's going to do too well at the box office. I'm sorry, Francis. I don't think you're getting your money. Well, you might get his money back, but I don't
I
know if
don't
he's making a
know,
whole ton.
because this, I just like I saw, that was the only thing I saw too, is that like it made 8 mil over the weekend. And that's the
Ooh,
opening weekend, and the word of
that's
mouth
tough.
isn't good. So it's not
Yeah,
like like 100 mil people are gonna go. You know what
yeah.
I mean? So it's like,
Mm.
my thing is like, when I hear these numbers, I lose my mind, because I'm like, why are you? Because I'm so used to watching like indie films and like or like maybe like a like low budget horror movies. I'm like, oh shit, they spent $1 million and they made 100 million. That's crazy. And then I'm thinking like, this guy spent like, what did you? Is it the cast? Maybe you had to pay Adam Driver 10 million. You had to pay, because there's a lot of big actors. I'm assuming
Yeah,
here's 5, here's 10, here's 10, here's 10, here's 10.
yeah.
Like, we were gonna do the movie Wolves, we're not doing anymore. I heard that like the budget for that was like crazy too, and it's just like, I get it. You have Brad Pitt and Clooney, but it's just like, how
Yeah.
about you guys, before you get all throw this money at these actors, let's make a good script.
Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
it's like, I hate to like to well, to a certain extent, it's not that way anymore. But in the past, if it's like Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, these guys in a movie, you're gonna guaranteed get like 50 million, or not 50, but like maybe like you'll get 30 opening weekend. But it's just like, especially those guys, as much as I love those guys, it's not their time anymore. They're not the big stars. So like, you're not
Yeah.
gonna get people running to the theaters to go see these movies unless it's actually a good story. And then it's like, oh, you got to go see this movie. You got to leave the house to go see this movie. In the world of streaming, where people just want to stay home anyway,
Right.
like, it
Well, I
has to be a
mean,
good movie. It's
the
not just,
Wolves went straight to streaming. This movie, it doesn't have any of those huge names. Like Adam Driver's a big name. Giancarlo Esposito, like these Aubrey Plaza, like these are big names, but they're not Brad Pitt, Clooney,
yeah. Well,
Tom
Andre Plaza is
Cruise.
probably the biggest like current thing going on, just because the White Lotus is a big show, and she's one of the
Mm.
main characters in that show, and that's actually a big show. So like, there's that. But yeah, again, it's got to be good though.
You're right.
Like, at
Yeah,
the end of
like
the
you said,
day.
like you said before, the like small indie movies, those when they blow up, it's because they're good movies. It's not
Yeah,
because the CGI is crazy and you spend $100 million on visual effects, or paying to shoot live in New York, or like they just write a good movie. And then sure, sometimes the cinematography is not that crazy because you can't afford an IMAX camera,
yeah,
or you know
exactly.
what I mean? But like the movie itself, the content of the story is good. So that's what people want to see, like it's like I feel like visual effects and stuff, it has no staying power. Like if you have an action movie, maybe that can carry a movie. Like when we did Transformers, like having the visual effects carry Transformers
Oh
makes
yeah,
sense because it's about these giant robots.
yeah.
But this movie is not an action movie. It's not about visual or CGI characters. There are a lot of visual effects in it, but it doesn't make the movie good.
No, 100%. And like you said too, it's just like, hey, pay a lot of much for like practical visual effects. You want to make like a giant, like real looking animatronical thing that actually is going to look good, or like make a huge explosion. You're paying to do that, sure, because those things are still going to look good in like 20 years. An explosion is
Yeah.
an explosion, but but all like a bunch of CGI or whatever is, that's just not going to look good in like 5 years.
Yeah,
just
like,
just
exactly.
how
Like when
fast
they're up on the
technology moves.
clock, when they're
Yeah.
standing up on that giant clock, like that's definitely all CGI. I didn't even understand that too. I'm like, where the hell are they? Why is there this fucking giant clock? But
Well, that one actually might actually been real. Like, I think what was behind them was something. There's something called the volume. They shot a lot of like the new Star Wars shit on that. It's like, it's a giant LED screen, They shot Batman on that too. Like a lot of all the scenes in Batman where you saw like nice what's it called, a landscape or whatever, or like the background. It's just like a giant LED screen, and they just constantly change that. Yeah, that's like the new wave now. My friend sent me the video of it. He's like, "Oh, this is like the new thing they're doing in Hollywood now. It saves."
Why is that
money.
better than green screen?
It looks better, I think.
But wouldn't it be the same thing?
No, it's like a really like the high definition screen versus like I don't know. I guess for whatever reason, I don't know why.
Fair enough.
Apparently, it just looks better. And like you watch the things, and you're like, okay, it actually looks somewhat convincing. So we'll see how that looks going forward. But yeah, anyway, that's all I got for facts. You wanna hop into the filmies?
Let's do it.
Okay. Hey, that beat drop.
Hey, all right. Welcome to the filmies, everybody. Jumping right into our award show, and we're gonna jump right into it with the fit check. Best or worst fit of the movie, Dion. Who gets your fit check?
So mine goes to Mayor Cicero.
Okay.
He had a pretty dope fit. It's kind of like he got like a suit, just like a black suit, but it was what he had like going on around it. He kind of had like this cool little red embroidered thing. It was like it was red around the what's it called, the collar, and then all the way down to like the opening of the button of the jacket, and then there's also like the little gold trim on it, and then the undershirt was fire too, because it wasn't even like it was a normal dress shirt, like a normal black dress shirt, but then he had like another, I don't even know what it was really, like it was almost like a side, because it wasn't like a full
sash
vest. Yeah, I think it was a sash. It was a sash that was under that was red. And it also had the little gold trim on it. I thought it looked fire. There was so many fits in this, so many costume changes. Yeah. That when I saw that one, I was like, I'm just gonna go with that because that actually looks pretty fire. I'm just gonna rock with that.
Was this at the parade?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think I know the fit you're talking about. And yeah, it's a little different when we're doing like a live movie, like a movie in theaters where you can't like pause or go back or so you kind of have to roll with it when you find one.
Exactly.
But you're right. There's a lot of fits in this movie. That was a hard one. I noticed that. I remember it.
I respect.
But there was a lot of like crazy and extravagant fits. So I kind of went with something a little bit different.
Okay.
I went with I gave it to Julia.
Okay.
It's the dress that she's wearing when she meets Caesar's mom.
Okay.
So it's a scene where he goes and sees his mom, and she walks in, and basically it's a green and yellow dress. It's basically, it kind of like cuts diagonally across her body, and it's like green on the bottom and yellow up top, and just those two colors, I thought they worked well together. I thought it looked fire, and like with all the wild fits, this was a little more clean and classic, and I just thought it popped.
Damn, that was my runner up. That was literally my leading
thing.
Way. That was my leading fit. But then I was like, I gotta give love to our guy Gustavo Fring, just because.
Yeah, okay.
Because I didn't give him anything else in this movie, so I was like, I gotta give him something. So I'm gonna give him my fit. But that Julia fit, I was like, I'm gonna give it. I was like, nah, I gotta give him something. That's a good fit though. I know as soon as you said it, I was like, it was biting my tongue. I was like, we could have had a certified.
Yeah, close certified. I just thought it was a nice dress. No, it was fire.
No, it was fresh.
Okay, so we're gonna go to our Nas Reed 6-Man award.
Okay,
who gets your Nas Reed award?
So my 6-man award goes to Sam. It's the guy that popped. It's the guy that popped Caesar, like the kid.
Oh, the kid. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just gave it to him because he gave an exciting scene to us. He just gave me something that made me like tilt forward in my seat. Because like I said earlier, you knew something was gonna happen. I thought maybe I thought maybe the book was gonna explode or whatever it is. And it's a small part, but it had such I thought it was gonna have a impactful moment on the movie. We got to see him turn into Harvey Dent for a little bit. So I'm gonna give Sam some love.
Okay. So, okay, I like it. It's a good pick. You're right. It was a scene that, the suspense ratcheted up, and like I said, there was that time where he's listening to Caesar talk to him, and he's giving him these one-word answers, and you could just see in his face like something was a little bit off.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, what's gonna happen? So you're right. That he gave us a good scene. That's a good pick.
What about you? Who was your Nas Reed 6-man?
I gave mine to. I had trouble with this one. I wanted to give it to Shia. I really did. Mm-hmm. But I felt like he was in it a little too much, and I didn't want to I didn't want to ruin the integrity of the award.
Yeah, that's why I did the Sam thing. Because I was like, who had a really small role? Okay, that's Sam, dude. Whatever.
I gave mine to Lawrence Fishburne.
Okay.
Really, because I mean, like I said, I feel like the movie in general, I said it in the scene with Julian Caesar in his office where he popped in and out. But I feel like the whole movie, he just kind of popped in, gave us a little something, popped out. He was just in and out a lot, and the narration, like just for having that smooth, silky, monotone voice. I just, like I said, I had trouble and I had to give it to someone, and I was like, I'll give it to my boy. What's his name from Matrix?
Morpheus.
Morpheus. I'll give it to my boy Morpheus.
We're just giving awards for past movies and TV shows. That tells you what we thought about the movie.
Exactly. No one deserved it. So
I just really like Audrey
Morpheus.
Because of the White Lotus. So I gave her my 6 man.
Exactly. You didn't see Shia and fucking Lawless? He was great. He gets my 6 man.
I like Shia and freaking Even Stevens on Disney. So I'm gonna give him my my fit check.
All right. Ferris Bueller Lazy Award.
Okay, yeah. This one, as soon as it happened, I was a little cheesed because So as we know, Caesar's he's the whole man of the future. He's thinking Megalopolis, he's thinking the future, right? Yeah. So they're talking about their baby names, right? They said that the boy's name is gonna be Francis, right? I think that's what they said. And if it's a daughter, they're gonna name her Sunny Hope. And to me, that's a trash name. And for a dude that's so focused on the future, you're not thinking ahead of what the life your kid's gonna live with such a corny ass name. Like, you don't think kids are gonna make fun of your kid? Sunny Hope? Come on. Maybe if you're Sunny. I know people named Hope.
I was gonna say, Hope. If you're listening to this movie, your name's Sunny, Dion says fuck you.
Nah, Sunny is fine. And Hope is fine. Okay. Shout out Naomi. That was her sister's name.
Oh, true.
Her sister's name.
Yeah.
But Sunny Hope, that's nah.
That's a tough. Yeah,
that's a tough one.
I feel like it's too on the nose. It's too on the nose.
It's not good.
It's not.
How do you go from Francis for the boy and then Sunny Hope for a girl?
Like a totally normal name to a fucking.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why are you doing the daughter like that? That's my Ferris Bueller, man. That's fucked up.
That's a good one. I like it. That's it. I can't hate it. It's a bad name. You're right. I can't hate it. I gave mine to Mayor Cicero.
Okay.
For earlier in the movie when they're in this, I don't even know what it is. It's like a warehouse when everyone's up in the rafters.
Okay.
Because there's like the model of the city below them.
Yeah.
Right. So like there's the model of Megalopolis below them, and Caesar's talking about how great it's going to be. But I give it to the mayor because right before Caesar comes out and talks about the whole city, the mayor's like, here's what I have proposed to you, general public, a casino. Yeah. And it's like, this motherfucker has a whole ass plan for a whole city, a whole fucking new city. You have one goddamn casino. And when Caesar pulls up and the mayor's yelling at him, he's like, no, the people need help. They need help now. You proposed a fucking casino. Who's that going to help, bro? Who is that helping?
Oh, that's a good point. Actually, I almost forgot about that he did that.
Bro, he was like, here, you guys want a whole city? Here, don't worry, I got you. A casino. Oh, fuck goodness, you.
Man. Let's put you guys in the hole even more.
Exactly. Who does that help? The people need help now. Well, bro, that's my Ferris Bueller award.
That's good.
All right, favorite quote.
This is the biggest laugh I got in the movie, and it wasn't even just me; it was all the people around me too. We just burst out laughing. It was that scene with Shia and freaking Platinum. Yeah, I played him in my head.
You got trouble with the fucking
Palladium's
rare
a place,
metals, bro.
Palladium's a place here. That's why it's a freaking it's a Dave and Buster's basically type place. So I just got it in my head.
Okay.
But yeah, Palladium. So it's when they're doing Platinum. Yeah. Wow.
We just talked
about
this.
And Claudio.
Bro.
Okay. My quote goes to Claudio, where she's like, "Yeah, they're doing all their things." She's like, they're like getting all freaky, and then like he's got like her face in her crotch, and like an alarm goes off, and she's like, "What's that?" He's like, "That's your pussy." I was just fucking dying. And that was the biggest laugh in the theater because everyone was like, "Oh shit, that's hilarious, bro."
Definitely an ad lib.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. That's 100% what I was thinking too. I was like, "Oh my god, that's hilarious."
Yo, Shia is fucking great, dude. He's fucking hilarious.
Oh my god, he really
Who knew
is,
he was
man.
this funny?
I don't know, man. Megan Fox did. Megan Fox.
Yeah, okay, good point. And now so does Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah, exactly.
Because think about all the ones they cut. He was probably fucking spitting some bars in there 100%. Too, and she was probably cracking up.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know, like imagine filming that scene, right? Mm-hmm. You're putting this guy's face in your vagina. Yeah. You're climbing on top of him. You're like spanking him. You're dominating. Yeah. There's no way they didn't break character in any of the scenes.
100%. I know. Yeah, you know he was throwing out some quips in there.
Definitely,
I want to see that. Just like the Transformers one, I want to see if there's a behind the scenes of him cracking jokes.
Megalopolis BTS, we need that.
I gotta see it, man. But what about
also,
you? Also,
we need that for Shia quips. We also need that just to see like the beef on set, like just see people getting pissed at Francis for like doing a whole 180 after filming a scene or something.
Now I'm imagining he got into that scene too, and he started being shy, just like, oh, method. This is what I want you to do. So
yeah, this is what I want you to do. Come here, Aubrey.
Yeah,
come here, Aubrey. Here's what you're gonna do, Shia. This
Jesus,
sicko.
Man. Allegedly, we don't know if he did this. We don't know if he did this.
You're right.
What was your quote?
I gave mine to. I just wrote down Claudio's goon because I still don't know what his name was. His main guy. This is the guy that he picked out of the parade.
Yeah, I know.
Anyways, I gave it to him when Shia and Claudio is going to talk to like the masses, the poor people, and start like rallying them up. Because he says he wants to go talk to him, and his boy says, "I'm a citizen. You're a citizen. These people are just human garbage." I was like, I just thought it pushed the whole theme of like the rich and poor thing, and like the classism, and just saying it right out loud. I was like, that's a bar.
No,
like, these are just human garbage. I was like, damn, that's tough.
Wild. No, that's tough. That was a good quote though. It really does. It pushes that theme that was clearly the main focus of the movie, which pushing that narrative.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how he kind of like puts it out. Like, he's not shy about the themes in this movie. He puts it right out there. Like, and this is one of the examples of how, and that's why it's my quote.
No, 100%.
So best scene.
All right. So my best scene, and it's for visual reasons, really. Like
okay.
This always happens. There's a scene you shit on.
Oh my god.
And I was like, hey, well, that's my best scene.
Damn, your scenes suck, bro.
Yeah, they really do. This is for visual reasons, though. It's the suspension beam scene when she's like, I'll just try. I didn't like it because of that scene. Because of that, I just like the way it looked. Because I just like the way that the beams were set up, the clock, and again, like I said, I think it's probably the volume that's in the background. Visually, I think it was just the most. There's a lot of visually pleasing aspects to this movie. So I felt going to this movie and like. Well, I shouldn't say going in, but as we were like halfway through, I was kind of like, okay, I don't think I'm going to love this movie. So my favorite scene is probably going to be something that I just thought looks like really cool and just visually pleasing. And to me, that was the most like visually pleasing scene.
That's a good point. You're right. And I had trouble picking a favorite scene too because I didn't like the movie. Yeah. So it's hard to pick a good scene.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like picking one that you just thought visually. I mean, really. I mean, these awards are totally meaningless anyways, right? So it's like you just pick whatever your favorite is. Oh, you're right. They're important to us. But
no,
it's like the kid shooting him. Totally meaningless.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
But I mean, we have to pick something.
Yeah.
It's the best scene. That doesn't even mean it's a good scene. It just means it's the best scene. So, and you're right. It did look cool.
Yeah.
Like the clocks and the beams floating in the sky. It did. It looked cool. And then when she leans in for the kiss. Yeah, and he's like holding her,
and so basically
in like
floating,
the wide open,
time, right? Yeah, so I thought, I thought it looked cool.
It was cool. My scene, it goes to, we talked about it when Caesar and Julia meet at his office.
Okay. Yeah.
That was my favorite scene. I mean, I talked about it already. I thought their chemistry together, I thought they were really good. There was that joke of him, so go back to the club when he's like getting jiggy. When he showed a little bit of his not so seriousness in the character, I like that. And she's like you mentioned, closing her eyes and walking through the city. I don't know. I thought it looked really cool. And another thing I liked about it was that I don't know if you noticed this, but there's a really long take in this scene when they're going back and forth. It's one long take, and I really appreciate a long take because everything has to go right.
Yeah.
Right. So I just appreciate when I see a long take. I know that, the actors didn't mess up any of their lines. The camera was on track the whole time. None of the extras messed up, or, just seeing it all come together for a long take. I know that it's all one seamless shot of everything going perfect. And I can just appreciate that.
No, I appreciate a long take too. Whenever I see them, I'm like, oh, okay. Like,
yeah.
Hey, have you ever seen the movie Children of Men?
No, man. Everyone keeps telling me.
Okay.
Not everyone, but I'm hearing that like over and over. I got to watch that.
There's a really good long take in that too.
Nice.
And it's just like, we definitely got to do that movie because I really enjoy that movie. So I'd love to talk about it. This is the long take in it is dope. So
even in Saving Private Ryan, like in the storming the beach.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's definitely some of it that's a long take.
Yeah.
And especially in that scene.
Oh,
there's so much shit going on. There's so many extras in the background, explosions and shit flying everywhere. To get a long take and something like that, you have to appreciate it.
Yeah, Spielberg. He does a lot of long takes too. It was like Jaws too, but anyway, we'll do some of those movies later on too.
Yeah, and Children of Men, we got to do that one.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We'll do that one soon.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's do it. MVP, last but not least, your most valuable player.
So my MVP goes to Shia, aka Claudio.
Let's go.
I had to do it because
nice.
Like at first, like the character, like we said, it was just kind of weird. Like he didn't really have any. Well, I didn't have any connection to him. At the beginning of the movie, I was like, oh, he's just gonna be kind of like that weird character on the side. But as the movie kept going, I was like, okay, he actually has somewhat of a plan. He's got some kind of purpose. He has wants in this movie. He's going towards something. And he just brought so much humor to the movie, which is what I was kind of hoping when I heard Shia was in the movie. I was like, okay, I don't know if he's playing like a straight man. That's not really kind of his kind of roles anyway. He'll have some kind of humor, even if it's dry or whatever. Maybe it's not intentional. I don't think a lot of the stuff he did in this wasn't intentional. It wasn't like he was cracking jokes. Like there's even the one scene too. It wasn't even like just him. It was like a group of guys. Remember when he threw his hat? He said, "Pick up my hat," and they all started throwing their hats down. Pick up my hat. Pick up my hat.
That was great.
Stupid shit like that. Like I wonder if that was another thing where it's like, "Yo, let's do this as we walk."
Definitely.
You know what I mean? We're giving him so much credit. Like,
yeah, you're right.
But
we don't know.
We don't know. But hey, the delivery is still a thing too. Like just because someone tells you to do something funny doesn't mean that person can make it funny.
For sure.
He makes things funny. Maybe he makes them even funnier than they would have been if someone else did it. But I had to give it to him just because his moments when he had them, they hit. Even when he was in the dress. It's just
the commitment, man. Like he was great. And like you were saying, like I feel like some of his stuff was not scripted and unintentional. I mentioned this earlier. I feel like he's not even acting. I feel like he's literally, because he's a weirdo in real life, right? So I feel like he just got dressed, showed up on set, and was just like talking to character. Like everyone else maybe had lines, and he was just fucking being Shia, and they just were rolling camera.
Yeah.
Like I could see this, like if I've obviously never hung out with him, but I feel like if I did, it would be like Claudio.
Yeah. Gangster's Paradise.
Maybe he's like Coolio.
Yeah, no, I get you.
I wanted to give him an award. I feel wrong that I didn't give him an award because he was great.
MVP?
I didn't give him my MVP.
Okay,
maybe should. But anyways,
no, it's fine.
Mine goes to Mihai Malemar Jr.
Okay,
who is the cinematographer on the movie.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, we talked about it. Like visually, that was really one of the only things I liked about the movie.
Yeah,
I liked that it was like there was so much camera movement. There was somewhere it was like spinning. It was rotating. There was somewhere there was like splitting the screen. Like there was 3 different kind of shots going at the same time. There was the effects, like we said, the shadows of the people on the building. Mm-hmm. You said it went on a little too long, but I still thought it looked cool. Yeah. Your best scene, you said, was for visual reasons. Like I think visually, this movie is really, really interesting.
Oh yeah.
It's something you can maybe love or hate. It's because there's a lot of it. Some of it I thought was maybe a little too much, but in a movie that I otherwise didn't really enjoy that much, I thought visually it was super interesting, and that's why it's my MVP.
Yeah, that was perfect. And it's funny too. I think that was another thing I saw too, where he talked about how that's like his guy, that cinematographer. Like he brought him along. I can't remember which movie it was, but he brought him along for a previous movie, and he really liked him. So then he brought him back again. So like that's kind of like his guy. Not, I shouldn't say everyone. Not everyone always has like their cinematography guy. Sometimes they change it up. Like I know like Tarantino has like his guy. Nolan has like their guys. Because like once you have that match with like a certain cinematographer, you're like, okay, I'm not gonna make a movie until I know this guy's free, because like he understands my vision and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah, he fits my style. Like he knows what I'm going for, and I feel like communication is a big thing. So if it's someone that you've worked with, and the communication is there, because even if someone had your style on this movie, and you want to go with something totally different on a different film, then going with the same cinematographer because it worked on that one, just because it fit the style, maybe isn't the best. But if you're like, okay, when I was explaining my vision, he was taking everything I was giving him, and it just the back and forth was great. So yeah, you're right. A lot of them have their guys that they stick with. Some of them don't. Maybe it depends on if you're going for a film with a specific style, you'd maybe go with someone that if you watched a movie in a similar style, you'd go with that guy, or at least talk to him. I don't know.
No, it makes sense. Yeah, no, 100%. And yeah, like whatever you feel like best fits your style, or like best is like, this guy will understand my vision. Like we it's easiest. Yeah, exactly. And then it's just you click, and he's like, that's my guy. I'm sticking with him. And that's what we do.
100%.
But that's it. Like that's do you have any final things you want to say about this movie before we? Would you tell someone to watch this movie?
I would tell them, but I'd give a disclaimer.
Yeah.
I'd be like, if someone said, "Oh, did you like it?" I would be honest. I'd say not really. But if they're like, "Oh, should I watch it?" I'd be like, "Well, I mean, if you." Honestly, no. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm trying to be nice, but I would not recommend this movie. I wouldn't.
I was trying to give I was trying to give this disclaimer, because I was like, I always appreciate, like, because we always talk about this too, where we say like, don't listen to the critics, watch it for yourself. So that's I always feel that way. I always feel tough telling someone I don't watch that movie, because maybe you'll like it. I always think, I'm like, well, I didn't like it. Maybe you will. I don't know. Maybe this is like that's like, oh, actually, this is like my style of movie. Like I just want to watch like cool cinematography, whatever it is, and like the plot's not the greatest, but like I just enjoyed it. I don't know. Maybe someone, again, I'm not bashing anybody. Maybe someone's listening to this right now. They're like, I actually like this movie. Hey, I mean, if you like this movie, you probably stopped listening to us because you probably got annoyed that we were a little critical of it. But if you're still here,
make it this far.
But if you're still here, and if you like this movie, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just your cup of tea. It wasn't our cup of tea. You're
right. Yeah, you're right. I mean, everything's
of it subjective.
Yeah, and everything's subjective in filmmaking and art in general, right? So it's like, you're right. I wouldn't tell someone, no, don't waste your money and see this movie. That's not what I would say.
But if someone was like, for it,
no, exactly. But if someone was like, "What'd you think?" I'd be like, "I didn't really like it," and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to watch it." I'd be like, "Okay, like go check it out. Let me know what you think." Because you're right. There's movies that I don't like that someone's pretty much every movie is someone's favorite movie.
Yeah.
When you think about it, right? Like even the movie that you hate is probably somebody's favorite movie. So yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, I mean, I don't know why you would have listened to this point, but go check it out and let us know. I mean, just because we didn't like it doesn't mean you won't.
No, exactly. But with that being said, don't forget to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube at The Film Room Pod. If you like the podcast, we'd appreciate if you give us a 5-star rating, like our boy Kobe X98 did.
Hey, respect Kobe.
Spotify or Apple. And again, like I said, if you leave a 5-star review, we'll read it on the podcast like we did earlier. And that being said, always remember that revenge is best in a dress.